Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to transition from working on the long composition. And many of you aren't done yet, so you do need to keep on working on that practice. But in class, we're going to focus our time on understanding open response questions or ORQs. ORQs are the other type of writing that you will need to do on the Legacy ELA MCAS that you're taking in January. And there are some major differences between ORQ and a long composition. So let's talk about that for a minute. One of the differences is that an open response question is designed to analyze your understanding of a reading of a text. So unlike the long composition, with an open response question, you're going to have the text with you. It's part of the text in the test. So you will be able to refer back to it and write quotes directly from that text. The second thing is that an open response question is designed to be a lot shorter than a long composition. An open response question is basically a paragraph, usually around 6 sentences long, sometimes a little bit more. And it's designed to be able to address the specific prompt, just like the long comp, that is related to that text. And your job is to answer the prompt in a paragraph form. So now that we understand a little bit what an open response question is, let's dive into analyzing an example, because you're going to do this during your time today to understand what makes a really strong open response question answer. Here we go. So we're going to read an open response question individually, and we're going to give it a grade. The highest grade you can get on an open response is a 4. So that would be what we want to accomplish when we write these. But you can also be assigned a grade of a 3, a 2, a 1, or a 0. So let's take a look at one example and the rubric and see what we think this answer deserves as a grade. Here we go. Okay. So here's my chart and here is my example. This is a response that a student gave on a real MCAS. In the article Game of Her Life by Tim Crothers, Fiona's accomplishments were so impressive given the challenges of her life. Living in Catway, she faces a lot of challenges every day, such as waking up at 5 each morning to begin a 2-hour trek through Catway to fill a jug with drinkable water, walking through lowland that is often so severely flooded by Uganda's torrential rains that many residents sleep in hammocks near their ceiling to avoid drowning. It is said that if you are born in Catway, you die in Catway, so the fact that she went to the 2010 Chess Olympiad is amazing. She didn't even know what chess was and mastered it in such a small amount of time. She won the Women's Junior Championship in 2007, where she was only 11 years old, and she won that title 3 years in a row. It's hard for her still because she's like many girls in Uganda, scared sharing what she's thinking because normally no one would care. But that doesn't stop her from doing what she loves, and that's what makes her so strong. Okay, so this is a response. This is an open response question answer that a student wrote. Let's go back to the rubric and see what we would give it. Okay, so topic sentence. Does it contain an argument that's not too specific or general and include title and author or other relevant contexts? Well, going back here, in the article Game of Her Life by Tim Crothers, Fiona's accomplishments were so impressive given the challenges of her life. That is definitely an argument. The argument is that Fiona's accomplishments were impressive given her challenges. And we do see the name of the article, the writing, the text, and the author. So I would say that this is a proficient topic sentence because it hits all of the key points in the rubric. So that's what I'm thinking about when I read this topic sentence. I would give the topic sentence a 3. So if I go back up here, I'm going to say the topic sentence meets criteria for a 3. Okay, now let's look at the next part. Contextualization. It shares where the source is from if there are multiple sources. In this case, there's only one source I'm thinking about, so that's not relevant. It shares who said the quote. It shares when the quote was said, and quotes are integrated smoothly. Okay, let's go back here. Now I'm looking at this answer and I'm thinking about quotes. I'm trying to look and see if I find a quote. I'm not actually seeing this writer use any quotation marks. So that's already something that is going to tell me that this is not going to be proficient in terms of contextualization and evidence. But I do think that she gives evidence from the text and contextualizes it a bit. So for example, living in Katwe, she faces a lot of challenges every day, such as waking up at 5 each morning to begin a 2-hour trek. So she is giving the context that she faces a lot of challenges and giving an example, a specific example of waking up at 5 each morning to begin a 2-hour trek, but she's not quoting that. And then later she says, it is said that if you are born in Katwe, you die in Katwe. So the fact that she went to the 2010 Chess Olympiad is amazing. So she's, again, I think, providing evidence from the text, but I don't see any quotation marks. So I'm going to go back up to my chart, and I'm going to say the contextualization and evidence are both around A2 because the writing meets some of the criteria, but not all. The paragraph is missing quotations or properly cited quotes, though it seems there is evidence from the text with some context. Okay. Now let's go to the next section. So we already talked about contextualization and we talked about evidence because it's not cited correctly. So we know that it's not going to earn full credit as a 3 or proficient. Okay, analysis. The analysis interprets the evidence by making inferences using strategies like requoting, defining keywords, explaining figurative language, and it clearly explains how the evidence proves the argument of the paragraph. Okay, let's take a look at the analysis in our example. Okay, so back to that sentence I read before. It is said in Katwe that if you are born in Katwe, you die in Katwe. So the fact that she went to the 2010 Chess Olympiad is amazing. She didn't even know what chess was and mastered it in such a small amount of time. It is hard, I'm skipping ahead a little bit. It is hard for her still because she's like most girls in Uganda, scared sharing what she's thinking because normally no one would care. But that doesn't stop her from doing what she loves, and that's what makes her so strong. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm seeing here that there is some analysis. So, you know, for example, where this writer says, so the fact that she went to the 2010 Chess Olympiad is amazing. And also that last sentence, but that doesn't stop her from doing what she loves, and that's what makes her so strong. But both of those pieces of analysis are kind of general. They're very broad. They're not very specific. The fact that she went to the Chess Olympiad, that is amazing. Why is it amazing? Tell me a little bit more about that. Explain maybe what happened in the Chess Olympiad. The reader's left asking questions about like, why is this so important? Tell me a little bit more here. And then in the last sentence, it doesn't stop her from doing what she loves, and that's what makes her strong. That's very general. I could say that a lot of people are strong. I can say a lot of people do what they love. Why is it unique in Fiona's situation? Why is her accomplishment so impressive? Going to my topic sentence, my thesis, why does that matter? I still have those questions, so I'm going to say it's not specific enough. Going back to the rubric, it's not clearly explaining how the evidence proves the argument. So I would say it meets some of the criteria. Again, I would give it probably around a 2, but not a 3. So I'm going to put that back into my chart. The analysis is a 2 because it does connect the evidence to the argument, but is not specific enough. Okay. And then my concluding sentence, again, summarizes the main idea of the paragraph. I would say here, that last sentence, it doesn't stop her from doing what she loves, and that's what makes her so strong. You can say that's a conclusion, but it's not very specific. It's pretty general. So again, I would say that that's maybe around a 2. So the conclusion is a 2 because it is very general. Okay, so now I've analyzed the whole ORQ, and I'm seeing that my ORQ example is between a 2 or a 3, but a little bit closer to a 2. And of course, what we want to aim for is a 4. So now you're going to use the rubric and analyze examples just like I did. And I'll give you a hint. There's one that's a 4, there's one that's a 3, there's one that's a 2, and there's one that's a 1. So it's up for you to decide which one is each of those. And you need to explain your reason for giving each one the grade that you did. Let's see how you do.